Most gardeners think the biggest threat to their harvest is pests, drought, or bad soil. But what if the real problem is already growing in your garden right now? Some plants don't just compete for water or sunlight. They secretly attack nearby crops underground, releasing chemicals, stealing nutrients, and turning healthy soil into a slow-motion disaster. And the scary part? Many of these plants are sold as helpful garden favorites. Some are common herbs. Some attract pollinators. Some are even recommended in beginner gardening guides. But one plant on this list can poison the soil for years after it's removed. And chances are, you've already planted at least one of them. Let's expose the 9 garden plants you should never grow near other crops. Because what's happening beneath your soil could be destroying your harvest without you even realizing it. Most gardeners never see the damage until it's too late. Your tomatoes suddenly stop growing. Your peppers stay small. Seeds refuse to sprout. Leaves turn pale for no obvious reason. So naturally, people blame fertilizer, or watering, or insects, or bad luck. But beneath the surface, something completely different is happening. Certain plants are chemically aggressive. Through a process called allelopathy, they release natural compounds into the soil that suppress nearby plants. Others spread underground root systems so aggressively that they quietly choke out everything around them. And the worst part is that these plants often look perfectly healthy while your vegetables slowly struggle beside them. That's why today's list is so important. Because once you understand which plants are sabotaging your garden, you can completely change the health of your soil and dramatically improve your harvests. And trust me, the later plants on this list become much more dangerous, especially number 1, because unlike simple overcrowding or competition, this final plant can actually stop nearby seeds from germinating at all. Let's start with one that surprises almost everyone. Number 9, black walnut. One of the most destructive plants for a vegetable garden isn't a vegetable. It's a tree. The black walnut looks beautiful above ground. Massive shade canopy, strong trunk, valuable wood. Even the fallen walnuts seem harmless. But underground, it's quietly poisoning the soil around it. Black walnut trees produce a chemical called juglone, a natural toxin released through their roots, leaves, and walnut husks. Once juglone enters the soil, nearby plants begin to suffer. And the symptoms are incredibly deceptive. Tomatoes wilt. Peppers stop growing. Potatoes struggle. Leaves turn yellow even when the soil is moist. Most gardeners think it's a watering issue, or disease, or nutrient deficiency. But the real enemy is already in the ground. And this is where things get worse. Black walnut roots can spread 50 to 80 feet from the trunk. That means your garden doesn't even need to be close to the tree to get damaged. Even worse, juglone can linger in the soil long after the tree is gone. So some gardeners remove the tree, then wonder why their crops still fail years later. That's how powerful this plant is. And the next plant is even more deceptive because millions of gardeners intentionally plant it near vegetables thinking it's harmless. Number 8, mint. At first glance, mint seems like the perfect garden herb. It smells incredible. It grows fast. It's useful in teas, drinks, cooking, and home remedies. But mint has one terrifying habit that turns it into a garden nightmare. It spreads underground like a silent invasion. Most gardeners don't realize mint grows through underground runners called rhizomes. These roots travel beneath the soil in every direction, constantly sending up new shoots far away from the original plant. At first, it seems manageable. Then suddenly, mint starts appearing everywhere. Between your vegetables, inside raised beds, along garden borders, even several feet away from where you planted it. And once it spreads, the competition begins. Mint aggressively steals water, nutrients, and root space from nearby crops. Plants with delicate roots, like lettuce, onions, carrots, and beans, usually suffer first. Growth slows. Harvests shrink. Seedlings weaken. But because mint itself looks lush and healthy, most people never suspect it's the problem. And removing it, that's the real nightmare. Even tiny root fragments left in the soil can regrow into entirely new plants. Some gardeners spend years trying to fully remove invasive mint from their beds. And if that wasn't bad enough, mint also creates dense patches above ground that reduce airflow and increase moisture buildup. That creates the perfect environment for mildew and fungal disease. What started as just a little herb becomes a full garden takeover. But believe it or not, the next plant actually attacks nearby crops chemically. Number 7. Sunflower. This one shocks people. Because sunflower looks so friendly. Bright flowers. Pollinator magnet. Towering beauty. Edible seeds. It feels impossible that sunflowers could harm your garden. But beneath the surface, they're fighting a chemical war. Like black walnut, sunflowers release allelopathic compounds into the soil through their roots and decomposing plant matter. These chemicals suppress nearby plants so the sunflower can dominate the area around it. And your vegetables often lose that battle. Beans, potatoes, corn, spinach, lettuce, tomatoes, all can struggle near sunflowers. Sometimes seedlings sprout normally, then suddenly stop growing weeks later. Leaves stay pale. Roots remain weak. Growth becomes stunted. Gardeners blame poor soil. But the sunflower was the problem all along. And physically, they're just as aggressive. Some sunflower varieties grow over 12 feet tall. That means massive shade over nearby vegetables. Crops like peppers, cucumbers, and squash begin producing fewer fruits once sunlight gets blocked. Then there's the root system. Sunflowers pull huge amounts of nutrients and water from the soil, creating intense competition underground. And even after the season ends, the danger continues. As sunflower stalks decompose, they keep releasing chemicals into the soil. So the next crop planted there may struggle too. And what this next plant does underground is even worse. Number 6. Bamboo. Bamboo might be one of the most dangerous landscaping plants you can grow near a garden, especially running bamboo. Because once it spreads underground, it becomes a monster. Bamboo spreads through powerful underground rhizomes that travel horizontally beneath the soil, and they move fast, several feet per year in some cases. At first, gardeners plant bamboo for privacy or decoration. Then suddenly, shoots begin appearing inside vegetable beds. And once bamboo reaches your crops, the underground competition becomes brutal. Bamboo roots are incredibly efficient at stealing moisture and nutrients. Tomatoes weaken. Squash struggles. Peppers stay undersized. The soil dries out faster than expected. And because bamboo is usually planted near fences or borders, people rarely realize its roots have already invaded the garden. But removing bamboo is where the real horror begins. Its rhizomes are unbelievably resilient. Leave even a tiny section behind, and it grows back. Some homeowners spend years fighting bamboo infestations after planting it once. And while all this is happening underground, above ground, bamboo can tower over your garden, blocking sunlight and completely changing the growing conditions nearby. What makes this especially dangerous is that many people don't know the difference between clumping bamboo and running bamboo until it's too late. And the next plant on this list is one gardeners constantly plant beside vegetables without realizing it prefers to grow alone. Number 5. Fennel. Fennel looks harmless. Feathery leaves. Beautiful yellow flowers. Sweet licorice scent. It's even used in cooking and herbal remedies. But fennel is secretly one of the worst companion plants in gardening. Because unlike helpful herbs, fennel actively suppresses nearby crops. It releases allelopathic chemicals that interfere with germination and root development. And it affects a surprising number of vegetables. Tomatoes, beans, peppers, lettuce, carrots. Many gardeners notice these crops simply don't thrive near fennel. They stay smaller, produce fewer fruits, grow slower, but fennel itself remains tall and healthy, hiding the damage it's causing underground. This is why experienced gardeners rarely mix fennel directly into vegetable beds. Most grow it separately, because once fennel shares soil with sensitive crops, your harvest quietly starts declining. and the next plant causes problems in a completely different way. Not through toxins, not through roots, but by attracting destruction straight into your garden. Number 4, dill. Dill is one of the most misunderstood herbs in gardening. People plant it to attract beneficial insects. And yes, it absolutely does that. Ladybugs love it. Pollinators visit constantly. But dill also attracts some very destructive pests, including tomato hornworms. And if you've ever seen what hornworms do to tomatoes, you know how devastating that can become. These giant caterpillars can strip entire plants almost overnight. But the problems don't stop there. As dill matures, it becomes increasingly competitive underground. Its roots begin competing aggressively for nutrients and space. Meanwhile, the plant itself can grow up to 5 feet tall, creating shade over nearby vegetables. And then comes the self-seeding. Once dill flowers, seeds scatter everywhere. The next season, dozens of volunteered dill plants appear across the garden. Suddenly, your vegetable beds are overcrowded with herbs you never intended to grow. And this is where most gardeners unknowingly destroy their own harvest. Because the next plant is praised as a miracle plant by many gardening communities. But it can become almost impossible to remove once established. Number 3, comfrey. Comfrey has a nearly legendary reputation in gardening circles. People call it a nutrient powerhouse. Its leaves are used for compost, tea, and mulch. Permaculture gardeners love it. But growing comfrey directly inside vegetable beds can become a massive mistake, because comfrey develops enormous taproots that reach deep into the soil. These roots aggressively pull nutrients and moisture from surrounding areas, and nearby vegetables often lose that competition. Lettuce weakens, beans slow down, peppers struggle. Meanwhile, the comfrey becomes larger and stronger. Its giant leaves spread outward, blocking sunlight from smaller crops. And then comes the worst part, trying to remove it. Comfrey roots grow so deep that fully removing them is nearly impossible. Even tiny fragments left behind regenerate into new plants. That means once comfrey establishes itself in the wrong spot, it can become permanent. Some gardeners compare removing comfrey to fighting a weed that never truly dies. And somehow, the next plant may be even more misleading because it's constantly recommended in gardening videos. Number 2, marigolds. This one surprises almost everybody, because marigold is usually promoted as a beneficial companion plant. And technically it can be. Marigolds help suppress certain soil nematodes. They attract pollinators. They add color to the garden. But here's where gardeners go wrong. They plant too many of them. Everywhere. Between every row. Around every vegetable. Across entire beds. And eventually, marigolds begin competing with young crops for nutrients, sunlight, and root space. Small seedlings suffer first. Beans, carrots, lettuce. They struggle to establish healthy roots when surrounded by dense marigold growth. Then the flowers begin attracting insects. Not just beneficial insects, but aphids and spider mites too. Suddenly, the protective flowers become a pest hotspot sitting right inside your garden. The issue isn't that marigolds are bad. It's that most gardeners completely overuse them. Strategic placement works. Overcrowding does not. And now, we've reached the plant almost nobody expects. The one capable of creating a hostile growing environment around it. Number 1, wormwood. Wormwood may look elegant and harmless with its soft silver leaves and herbal scent. But this plant is one of the strongest allelopathic plants you can grow, meaning it actively suppresses nearby vegetation. Wormwood releases powerful chemical compounds into the soil that interfere with seed germination and root development. And the effects can be devastating. Seeds refuse to sprout. Seedlings stay weak. Leafy greens struggle. Beans and peas fail unexpectedly. Gardeners often notice something strange around wormwood. Very few weeds grow nearby. That's not an accident. The plant is chemically suppressing surrounding vegetation. And unlike some plants on this list, wormwood also impacts insect activity. Its strong scent can repel pollinators and beneficial insects from nearby crops. So vegetables that rely on pollination, like cucumbers, squash, melons, and peppers, may produce fewer fruits. In other words, wormwood doesn't just attack nearby plants. It disrupts the entire garden ecosystem around it. And that brings us to the bigger lesson behind this entire video. Most of these plants are not bad plants. Some are beautiful, some are useful, some are even beneficial in the right place. The real danger is planting them too close to sensitive crops. Because gardening isn't just about what you grow. It's about understanding how plants interact underground. Some compete aggressively. Some spread uncontrollably. Some release chemicals that quietly sabotage neighboring crops. And once you understand those interactions, everything changes. Your soil stays healthier. Your vegetables grow stronger. Your harvests become more consistent. Because sometimes the biggest threat to your garden isn't pests. It's the plant growing right beside your crops. So before you plant anything new this season, take a closer look at what's already in your garden. You might discover the real reason your harvest has been struggling all along. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gardening secrets, plant guides, and backyard growing tips every single week. And while you're here, watch our next video on the plants that actually improve soil health and boost vegetable growth. Because choosing the right companions can completely transform your garden.